You know, I'd like to give you a little bit of history where Pete was when he was born, back about 120, 125 years ago, and how far we've come into the 21st century. Let's think about what his life was like, what he knew, what he didn't know. Everything was what it was. To us today, we look at it and we say, God, how did they do it? Well, Pete didn't know, and Pete didn't have a thought or a chance. He just had what he had and made the best with what he had. What he had was a life filled with love, a life filled with friendship. Yes, according to us today, very meager in what they had as far as automobiles and refrigeration and air conditioning and things like that. But Pete didn't know that. He wasn't aware of it. But he was aware of what he had, and he made the most of what he had. He enjoyed his days. He worked hard. He knew his obligations. He had love from his family. His mother loved him. He loved his mother. He had love from his siblings. They knew what he was doing for them. And he wanted to, out of knowing what was right, out of knowing the love he had, and probably out of the need that they needed his help. And Pete just mustered up the courage and ability and will to do it. Why? I have no idea as I get older and I look at it and I say, I know what I did to help the family, which I will kind of just briefly tell you as I go through this. But I look back and I really am in wonderment of the kind of man he was. As I get older, I appreciate more and more and more what he was, what he did, the love that he had for friends, for family, for good times, even working. His camaraderie, never spoke bad of others. Others never spoke bad of him. I remember as I got older, walking down the street with I guess you'd say a farmer. But there wasn't a person on that street that wouldn't say hello to Pete. Pete was very shy. But they'd say hello to Pete. They'd come and shake his hand. They'd smile. My mother's family, my grandfather, my mother, loved him. How could you not? The lessons he taught me, did I listen to all of them? I wish I had. Like any young guy, I thought I knew better. But I guess you had to get that one word, experience. And he used to say, experience comes at a cost. Experience comes at a cost. How much are you willing to pay? I'm trying to help you to alleviate a lot of that, but the only way you're truly going to learn is to experience it. I have to say that Pete passed on a lot of things that I hope in these videos that I will pass on to you. And what he passed on to me was work ethic, his love for family, his devotion to his kids, devotion to his friends, which were minimal, quiet guy. But the people that loved him, the stories that I will tell you of you or ones that you've heard, the admiration, and I just come to appreciate and love what he was. Yes, as a father. Yes, as a parent. But as a man, the way he held his head, the way he never complained, the way he always put food on that table. I used to sometimes wonder how, but he did. He did, without complaining at all. And yet, when we look at where we are today, I wonder what the thought process is for your children with you with your children. I am in no means saying that you do not work, and in today's society it's usually a mother and father that have to work. But I wonder how many children work. I know when my mother came to me when I was around 13, 14 years old, which was tough for her. And she said, you know, Gabriel, we could use some help. Your dad could use some help. That's all she had to say. 14 years old, prior to getting a license in New York State, you had to be 16. I went to work on the fish market. 14 years old. Burned home $55 a week. If you want to do a comparable to 2023, what that is, I think you'll find it quite astounding. The money that I burned home. Did it help? I guess it did. My mother never complained. My father never complained. I was a tremendous athlete. I'm not boasting about myself. My father came to one game. I remember that till the day I die. He got up and he goes, that's my boy. I was as proud can be. And the other time is when I graduated college. At that time he got his last rites but didn't die on that one. When I got my diploma, he jumped out of that seat and got in the aisle and said, that's my boy. Two little things that I'll take with me to my grave, and I am so proud of, that I was commended by a man that I've respected. And now, as I've gotten to a certain age and whatever the Lord chooses me to have from this day forward, I really understand, or try to understand, what he was all about, where he came from, what he had, never complaining, just doing. I wonder in our 21st century with all the gadgets and toys and technology and things that we have, I wonder if we've just gone a little bit overboard. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm not saying if you're in a position we should, but I wonder if we've spoiled our children. I wonder if we've given them proper work ethic, proper love for the family, proper interpersonal skills, to be able to put down those iPhones and iPads and over dinner talk about what happened in today's life with them, in school, with your job, whatever, and have them talk. I, being an individual in one of my businesses, was involved with personnel quite heavily for about 20 years. And I knew when the computers come out, the one fear I had was I wonder if that's going to take away from them their interpersonal skills, their eye contact, the ability for them to communicate with others? I think it has. All? No. But I think many. I think it's up to us as parents. I know that I did the best I could. I know that they don't come to me today for anything other than conversation to see how I am, see how I'm doing. And that's how we communicate. I ask them, and simple, I'm doing well. I'm happy. I truly am. Maybe I don't have the smile on my face, but I'm happy I did my job. I wonder if all of us out there can say that as we watch these videos, that we've done our job, or we've neglected our job, or we've given in to the technology of iPhones and iPads and computers and teachers that want to become parents. I don't know. Take where Pete came from, take what he had, which was very, very meager at the turn of the 20th century. If you can go back that far in your mind, 120 years. And think about how far we came. What all of the inventions during that tremendous period, Industrial Revolution, telephones, cars, trains, steel, buildings, skyscrapers. Do we really appreciate it? Or are we too lazy now because we've got all of this technology that leaves us lax, and we rely so much on it that we've kind of now let that become the parent? I don't know. I think there's a place for it. I think there's good to it. I think there's also very, very bad. I think it has to be monitored. Yes, we've come a long way in 120 years. But like anything else, 120 years in the existence of our world, of our planet, almost 14 billion years old, isn't a speck of sand on a beach. We're only here for a short time. We're only here to give so much advice and love, to teach these kids how to love, how to work. If we don't have it, they won't have it. My father had it. He instilled it to me. I instilled it to my children. They have it. I know they've instilled it to their children. All good students, all use computers, but all work. So what am I trying to say here with all of this? Is moderation in life. Moderation. Everything has to be tempered. Everything. Whether it be technology, whether it be love, whether it be work, it has to be tempered. And when we get to that time, that period, where we temper what is right and what is wrong, I think we will probably have evolved to a time and a period where things may be going the right way with all of the things that matters. And in life, as we get closer to the end and coming into it, what really matters? Family, love, work, responsibility. I don't know. I throw that out like I do everything else. We have to think. Again, if I gave you pause to think for a brief second in our busy life, then my videos possibly will help you justify a little bit as to what maybe you need to temper and maybe what you don't. I hope it helps. I'd love it to. I'd like it to. I thank you for listening. And if you like, I'd like you to subscribe. The book, if you want, is Pete Cicale. I keep saying it over and over because Pete Cicale, I will say it again, should be read by all. If you've got thoughts on anything I've said, agreement or disagreement, please let me know. I thank you for taking the time to listen.